All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, one could make a case that outfielder Juan Soto leaving the New York Mets to join, pardon me, leaving the New York Yankees to join the New York Mets has given the Subway Series the sizzle that it has needed for quite some time. Yes, the Yankees and Mets play each other every year. But in my opinion, all right, this rivalry has lost some of its juice to me. And to me, I think it's only a real rivalry when both teams are good and that they have something to play for. And of course, you think about the Yankees, you think about a team for the most part that is getting to the postseason and competing, in that World Series derby. They got to the World Series last year for the first time in 15 years. The Mets, they're trying to make it to the postseason for the third time in the last 4 years. Of course, the Mets historically don't have the history of winning like their counterparts in New York do. But nonetheless, when both of these teams are good and competing, I think it is good for the Big Apple, in my opinion. Now, most late Yankee fans right now, okay, they've got themselves a good old fashioned hatred for Mr. Juan Soto because, in spite of the fact that he only donned the pinstripes for one season, all right, not only did he leave the Bronx, but he left the Bronx to go to Queens to play for the Mets, which is a no-no in the eyes of most Yankee fans because at the end of the day, they just deem the Mets as their little brother. But that little brother has a team owner right now by the name of Steve Cohen with very deep pockets who is willing to spend in the mode of former Yankees team owner George Steinbrenner. Last winter, we saw Cohen go out there and not be denied in his pursuit of Juan Soto. Now, this weekend marks the first time since Soto signed with the Mets that he has returned to Yankee Stadium to face the Bronx Bombers as a visitor. And of course, the fans there have let Soto know how they feel towards him. Each time that he digs in at the plate, he has been booed severely. Each time that he makes an out, the fans are going crazy. And even when he takes right field for defense in the Bronx, the entire right field section, they're turning their back to him. Okay. And honestly, it's going to be like that for Soto as he continues to don the blue and orange of the Mets. But for me, the other thing that adds some spice to all of this is the fact that, you know what? Juan Soto, he really doesn't care. I mean, you saw him in his first at bat on last night. He tipped his hat to the fans, even in spite of the fact that they booed him. He smiled, and the fans jeered him when he was in right field. And at the end of the day, he's got 765 million reasons why he should feel that way. Okay. Like I said, when Soto signed with the Mets. Okay, I got the feeling, in my opinion, that he always wanted to be a Met, and the Mets did whatever it took last offseason to get him. And if you're the Mets, yes, you paid Soto the big bucks, but you didn't have to give up the prospects to get him like the Yankees did when they acquired him from the San Diego Padres. And of course, if you're the Yankees, you kind of knew going in that it was going to be a possibility that Soto could be a rental. You wanted him to be a part of your culture, and maybe that uh, would, sweeten the pot, if you will. That was not the case, of course, and in spite of the fact that Soto was a big reason why the Yankees got to the World Series last year, he decided to leave and go to the Mets. All right, one could make a case also that Yankee Stadium, and of course we've heard it lively at times. Okay, but Yankee Stadium right now has not sounded this lively for the Subway Series since these two crosstown rivals met in the World Series 25 years ago. Okay, as in my opinion, Juan Soto's departure from the Bronx has given this rivalry just what it has needed, which is some life. Because you've given the New York fans, you've given the Yankee fans something to be mad at. And if you're a Met fan, you've now been given something to poke your chest out about, because not only do you have one of the better hitters in baseball in your lineup, if you're a Met fan, you got him away from the Yankees. Okay, and it's going to be a back. There's always a back and forth between Met fans and Yankee fans, and I think this is only going to add to that, in my opinion. And of course, now that the Yankee fans have gotten their opportunity to boo Soto as a visitor for the first time, and I guarantee you it ain't going to stop anytime soon. The next question is going to be, which one of these big spending franchises is going to be able to claim that World Series crown first? And of course, if you're the Yankees, you look at this and you say, hey, we're the Yankees. It's us and everybody else. And of course, in the case of World Series championships, that's, a no-brainer. Nobody is coming close to the amount of World Series championships that the Yankees have. But of course, on the flip side, you have a Mets team owner and Steve Cohen that is looking, and he's in the process of changing the culture for this organization, as he wants to bring them a World Series championship. And I guarantee you, if the Yankees are able to win that championship with Aaron Judge, and before the Mets can do it with Juan Soto, if they can do it, Yankee fans are going to be thrilled, to say the least. On the flip side, for the Mets, if they're able to do it, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to be a lot of finger pointing at the other side. I mean, we know for the most part there's no love lost between some of the folks in the fan base. Can't really say that much for the players. But at the end of the day, money talks and everything else walks. But nonetheless, like I always say, sports is entertainment. And of course, this is entertainment because you have now given the Yankee fans something to hate. I mean, you think about it, the rivalry between the Yankees and Red Sox, it's second to none. Okay. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But now, within the Big Apple, you've also given Yankee fans something to be more than irritated about, and that is Juan Soto playing for the New York Mets. So, like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg for this. It ain't going away anytime soon. All right. I think this has been a phenomenal Subway Series so far. The Yankees took game one last night in the Bronx. The Mets won this afternoon. And of course, there's going to be the rubber game tomorrow night. Anybody who has checked out this channel and, listen to my, views on baseball right now knows that I am not a fan of the whole interleague bag throughout the baseball season. All right. On top of that, I really feel that MLB should cut back on the amount of interleague games that are played each and every year. I don't think that the Yankees and Mets should have to play two series a year either. I think one 3-game series, kind of just leads to more intensity and makes it more memorable. Okay, now Yankee fans are going to see Juan Soto again next year when he comes to the Bronx as a visitor for the Mets, and possibly, maybe these two teams meet up in the Fall Classic again. You don't know. They got there very close last year. The Yankees made the World Series, and of course, the Mets lost to the Dodgers, the eventual World Series champions, in 6 games in the LCS. But nonetheless, uh, Juan Soto is a guy that the Met fans are, learning to love, and he's also a guy that the Yankee fans have easily learned how to hate. They still got their guy in Aaron Judge. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You know what I've said about Aaron Judge and the phenomenal season that he's having. Two darn good teams here in the Mets and Yankees, both in first place in their respective divisions. I think the Yankees are going to have a little easier go at it as far as winning their division, while the Mets are going to have to battle with the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Atlanta Braves have finally gotten over 500. So we'll see what goes from there. But nonetheless, for the Mets to win that division, they're going to need Soto's big bat to get it going a little bit more than what he has so far this season. And maybe he gets it going in the rubber game tomorrow night in the Bronx. that could really, quiet the Yankee base that's there. And of course, give the ha ha feelings, if you will, for the Mets base that is representing in the Bronx. But nonetheless, Subway Series is back. And I think Juan Soto going to the Mets was the fuel that this fire needed. You've given Yankee fans something to rally behind. You've given Met fans something to rally behind as well. We got one more game in the Bronx, and let's see how things look when this rivalry shifts to City Field later this season. But nonetheless, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you have heard and saw on this podcast, please feel free to hit that like button as well as subscribing to the channel. Not trying to sound like a broken record, but I guarantee you it is always greatly appreciated. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365, and you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. And also, if you follow me on the X, also please feel free to follow me on Instagram as well at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. And just like it is on the X, you give me that follow, I'll give you that follow right back. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off. I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.